in this speech the history of jazz. I'll inform you about the different eras chronologically and how they relate to music we listen to today. Lady Gaga said in an interview on NPR that she wanted to capture with her 2014 album Cheek to Cheek the soul of jazz and the feelings that jazz brings. The beginnings of jazz start from the 1890s to 1940s. The first form of jazz was ragtime. Ragtime includes a first form of syncopation, which is an emphasis of the upbeat. Also, ragtime developed into swing and Dixieland. Swing is characterized by kind of a skipping beat, and Dixieland is more of the New Orleans style of that. New Orleans style had influence of Haitian and French influence, so that's kind of a different flavor. Lady Gaga, her album is characterized as swing. Some people who started this movement are Louis Armstrong and Count Basie. That's Louis Armstrong right here. And Count Basie, he actually has his own form of swing. So they're really the swing kings, in other words. Another peak of jazz was bebop. And Charlie Parker is one of the main spearheads of the bebop era, as well as Miles Davis. These artists were considered hipsters. The hipsters of the era were more people who broke away from the swing. Swing was more for the higher class and speakeasies of the day, and the bebop was more for the people who didn't really fit in. They broke away and all wanted to find their own sound. Bebop is characterized by really fast tempos and extremely hard chord progressions. They're usually performed in small clubs, like in New York City, where there's smoke all billowing around and just one player soloing and soloing and soloing forever. The improvised solos are very important in this era because that really is heard almost all the way until today. Improvised solos are heard in singer runs or just about any sort of pop saxophone licks. Those are always heard from those days. An important branch of jazz that arose in the 1970s and 80s was funk. Funk was an era of really huge emphasis on the rhythm section. The rhythm section pushed the groove, and then the horns were just for the ornamentation of fancying it up and making it spicy. Some people who included in this era were James Brown and Stevie Wonder. And James Brown is shown in this picture right here. Finally, contemporary jazz is influenced by all three of these eras in jazz and is still seen today. Jazz from the 1990s to the present day specifically is what we're talking about. Different eras sprang from the swing and bebop to create this contemporary sound. The genres include jazzcore, smooth jazz, jazz rap, and folk jazz. They all are combined into this one, well, they're not combined, but they were made from all the other jazz. So it's in sequential order. And they all influence each other. And jazz has influenced today's music. Contemporary artists include, in today's music, Kendrick Lamar and John Zorn. John Zorn is shown right here, and he's a jazz core kind of guy. His music is more sporadic and crazy. It's more like if you were hearing heavy metal in jazz. It's heavy metal jazz, basically. And then Kendrick Lamar is considered a jazz rap, and also The Quest Called Love and The Roots are also jazz rap. They're really quite phenomenal. Jazz has influenced today's music and Lady Gaga's album because Neil Postman and Steven Johnson in their books, they mention that they're well-known media critics and educators. Their theories that jazz will be arising later on, and because people want more intricate forms of education. They don't want to just bland stuff all the time. They want more things to stimulate the mind, which is definitely jazz because it's so complicated. And also Neil Postman, he mentions things about the entertainment aspect. Jazz is for entertainment, finding your new sound to entertain people. In conclusion, I have talked about each era of jazz from the beginning to the present, then related them to the music we have today. Jazz touched many genres and started many new genres of music. Jazz is very important in music today and inspires creativity and provokes thought. Hopefully you learned a little bit more about the history of jazz. Thank you.